Hello, this is the Scarlet and Rage podcast. It is good to be coming back to you live this Thursday evening. It's been a little while since we've had an episode. Of course, there is a off-season kind of low that has been creeping in. However, there is massive news this week. We have a lot to talk about with the new hires and the new arrangements on the Buckeye coaching staff. The moves for Ryan Day are complete. I think, we gave our thoughts about the ones that were exiting the last episode, but we have not had the chance to discuss these new hires. We're going to do that today and potentially much, much more. Those of you that are watching and tuning in, thank you. If you would hit that like button and also please hit the bell if you subscribe so that you know every time that we go live. All right. Jay, looks like you got something wrapped around your neck there. What do you got?
Yeah, Michael, it's been a long time since we did a show. I feel like it's been like a couple weeks. It hasn't been a couple weeks. It's been like a week and a half.
Yeah.
You know, things are they're not as easy to come up with content. And, you know, me and you have full-time jobs. We have personal lives. And in those personal lives, we have things called hobbies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you and I are into the mixed martial arts scene. We're both, been training for a little while. And we'll probably do a couple one-off shows in the off season about that. But, sir, I shot you a text and, we didn't really speak too crazy about it. But I got my purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, man. I got my purple belt. So, yeah, I thought I would just show everyone, it's a legit purple belt.
The 11 people watching, awesome. the 11 people watching are all golf clapping now for your purple belt, Jay.
Yeah. I thought I would wear it as like a,
but no, seriously, that's a big achievement for those of you that do not maybe know the grappling world. If you get a legit purple belt, which is going to take usually 6, 7, sometimes 5 to 7 years, depending on injuries and how long you train, you are effectively a master grappler. Now, no, you're not a black belt, so you don't have that precision, but you are a master grappler. So quite a feat to obtain a purple belt, Jay. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. It caught me by surprise a little bit. I mean, like in all honesty, it was a long time coming. I'm not trying to brag, but I've been a blue belt for a long time. And I didn't really go to any of the promotional ceremonies, not really because I didn't want to go, but it just never fit into my schedule to go. So I just never went. I probably could have got promoted like a year ago, but my main BJJ coach, so we were in class and we basically had partnered with another gym with a bunch of fucking big people, like all around your size, man, probably bigger than you, honestly. And they're all a bunch of, we've had a lot of people in on Tuesdays and Thursdays in gi martial arts. And right at the beginning of class, they, they had us all go to the wall, which was odd. I'm like, what are we doing here? And then, Coach Mitch, the sensei, as I call him, he was like, hey, we have a, we don't usually do this, or I don't know how we phrase it, but we have a promotion to give out. And he's like, Jay, come to the front. And I was like, what's going on? And then like, he just handed me my purple belt and I'm like, wow. Oh damn, this is great. I was so fucking like happy. I mean, I was happy, but I was like caught off guard because, the selfishness in me, Michael, I'm going to tell you, the selfishness in me came out because I had not really accomplished anything at blue. Every tournament I've gone in blue, I've lost. The only time I won was in white belt. So like at blue, I mean, I did IBJJF, if you know what that is, which is like basically regional. It's regional, like really good people go. It's, it's like only in like 32 cities. So people travel from away.
That was my first white belt tournament.
How'd you do?
I won one and lost one.
Okay. Yeah.
I lost by points. Yeah, that was the first one. It was in Cincinnati, actually. It's when I was in Cleveland.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. But yeah, I never won anything at blue. All the matches I won were at white belt. So I mean, I got screwed. Actually, you saw the videos when I competed at blue, and I should have won
Yeah.
both. Well, the first one we were really like even, but the second one I really got screwed by the refs. But I don't know, man. Selfishly, I was going to go into this summer, compete one more time at blue, and I was just feeling like running through people. And now I'm at purple. So if I compete again, it's going to be a purple belt.
Well, give it 6 months and get back in there and start the competitions in purple. The hardest part is beyond you, Jay. I mean, if the philosophical Brazilian jiu-jitsu, if you're gonna quit as a purple belt, because so many people quit as a blue belt. Not that you're gonna quit as a purple belt. You're gonna go on and get your brown belt and your black belt. But if you are gonna quit as a purple belt, not as a blue belt, because so many people get the blue belt blues. It can be so long as a blue belt, just some move on quickly, some can be there 4 or 5, even 6 years if there's injuries and things. And so it's a long road at blue belt, and a lot of people don't make it through. So congrats.
Yeah, man. I've heard the same. Blue belt was, I started in a previous gym with my blue belt. And when I went to my gym that I'm at now, and I've told you about it before, it's just so much more well balanced and this, that, and the other. My old gym was it wasn't for me personality wise or, martial arts wise anymore. It just wasn't my cup of tea. And I felt like at my new gym, I was like literally starting over as a white belt. So I had been a blue belt for like 4 years at my gym now. And it's like, it was like I was starting over again at white belt with like leg attacks and more takedown focus and stuff. But I feel like I've become more like, I can do everything as a grappler, like more or less. I'm not trying to brag. It's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, man. So it took me a long time, but at the same time, I wanted to be the best blue before I moved on. So
let me address a couple of comments. It says, is this a legitimate fighting place or one of those strip mall McDojos? No, the McDojos are few and far between in the Brazilian jiu-jitsu world. They do, I guess, exist. They didn't used to exist ever in the Brazilian jiu-jitsu world, but there are some now. But the vast majority of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, if you get a purple belt, you have been smashed as a white belt, for multiple years, sometimes a year and a half or 2 years. You've conquered some as a blue belt, but also continued to get smashed for another, 3-4 years. And then you can get your purple belt. So no, it's legit. Anybody that gets a purple belt in a legit BJJ gym, number one, they know how to grapple. Number two, they have taken plenty of losses and also had plenty of victories. There's no other way to purple belt.
Right. Somebody asked if we're ever going to face each other in mutual combat. I don't know. I mean, if we ever went 100%, I don't think I'd be able to beat you, man. You're just too big and strong.
We could do a friendly flow roll.
Yeah, we could do like a flow roll, man. And I tell you what, it's amazing. Even flow rolling, you get a sense of if somebody's good or bad.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you just know. You just know. I think Caroline's getting some ideas over here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wolfpacker, for the flex there. Slip and Skippy says he'd rather lift weights. And yeah, lifting weights is great. But I mean, if you face somebody in a fight out on the street and they're trained in anything, you're in trouble. I don't care how strong you are. I go against people that are like a lot bigger and stronger than me. I went against some people today at the gym, Michael, and they don't have much. If they don't have much training. Even if
they're not trained, if you're we'll say a high level blue belt or beyond, and you're facing somebody who's not trained, then you're probably going to have a pretty easy time with them. But I mean, I know, because I was a weightlifter. If I was just lifting weights, that wouldn't help me a whole lot in that. And that's really why I got into jiu-jitsu, because I was about 235 pounds when I went in. I was strong, and I was getting beat by guys that were much smaller than me, much weaker than me. And it was absolutely kicking my butt. And I said, anything that is defeating me this bad is something that I need. And that's how I started doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Michael, it looks like my camera's having problems again, man. I don't know why it's doing that, but I might have to switch over to my monitor. Don't know why that happened. I actually restarted my computer before this podcast, but it looks like it's having issues again. I'll try and like play around with it here in a minute, but I might just have to switch over to my monitor. But anywho, yes, James, you are right. The striking as well. Jiu-jitsu is a great martial art, but it has very, very clear weaknesses, and I would say it's borderline overrated. You definitely still have to get your striking in. I've had like 5 years of striking. Striking's like riding a bike. I think you agree with me there.
Yeah, have to be able to strike some and have to be able to manage the distance. You know, even in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's the difference between the schools that start on their feet and the schools that don't. I was in a school several years that started from their feet, and only about 6 months in a school that went from the ground, which I didn't like much. Starting from the feet is much better because you at least have to get that person to the ground, because if you can't get somebody to the ground, then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is not all that helpful.
It doesn't fucking work. It just doesn't fucking work. And
if you look at the old Gracies, they were not just grapplers, they were strikers as well. It's just that their striking was basically limited to closing the distance so that they could grapple. But I mean, if the average person can do that, then there's not going to be too many people.
Look how shitty Royce's great like fucking takedowns were at the beginning. They're terrible.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially compared to now that so many jiu-jitsu guys have gotten good at some more of the wrestling type takedowns. But yeah, the type.
Man, I feel like we could talk all day about this subject, Michael. We have some very important things to discuss, and Michael, I just want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
What in the fuck has been going on with Ohio State since the national championship game, man? I've been giving them a lot of leeway here, and all it seems like it's just been bad news after surprising bad news, and it just keeps piling up, and it's starting to wear thin on my good graces here. I'm trying to be Mr. Good, nice rage, but nice rage is starting to be pissed off rage again. What in the fuck is going on? What is going on with these hires? What is going on? I guess we'll start at the top, man. You have a lot to say about Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia is, and more of actually not more of, he is an NFL guy that is trying to convert to college. What the fuck? Can you start there at the top, man? I feel like you know this guy better than I do, better than, most people.
Yeah. Being an adopted Patriots follower, because I saw something in young Tom Brady during his first Super Bowl run that I just really liked. And despite him being a Michigan guy, I followed his career and, rooted for him when it was appropriate, which was most of the time, because it's not like the Bengals were ever playing for anything significant during most of Brady's years. And so, yeah, so I, definitely watch those Patricia defenses a lot. And, like you said, he's an NFL guy, and it's an odd pick for Ryan Day. It's out of left field. I certainly didn't see it coming. I know he interviewed, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. The guy from the Chiefs, what's his name?
Joe Cullen.
Yeah. Yep. I believe the word is he was interviewed. And he ends up going with Patricia. Patricia is, he's a hard one to nail down, because clearly he's a multi-Super Bowl winning coordinator. And you're not an idiot if you're a multi-Super Bowl winning coordinator. But the question still does remain, how much of that was Bill Belichick and his system and Tom Brady and everything that was behind those Patriots team? How big of a role did Matt Patricia have? It's very gray as to what that role was. He obviously was not successful as a head coach. And probably the one disturbing thing about him is he hasn't really had a whole lot of interest in him since he was fired in Detroit. He's just kind of bounced around to low-level type of jobs. And so I wasn't expecting this one. But, I'm not totally against it, Jay. I'm open to it working out. I mean, I think he's a guy that schematically is going to be able to be very good. He obviously is a Belichick disciple. We know that Nick Saban utilized many Belichick type schemes and ideas with great success through the years. That part to me is intriguing, maybe exciting a little bit, but certainly this was not the hire any of us were expecting. He's never been a college guy. This is the first foray into college, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
You are correct. You are absolutely correct. This is going to be the most polarizing hire that Ryan Day has had in his existence as Ohio State's head coach, even more so than Kerry Coombs, I believe. Like you said, dude, this hire was completely out of left field. He has not worked anywhere in over a year. I know he called the Philadelphia Eagles plays on the back end of 2023. Now, I've heard differing opinions there that he's not really to blame for their failed defense in 2023 and this, that, and the other, because, he took over so late and they basically appointed him to call the plays to try and fix things. I don't know. He didn't fix it, though. So there's that. The Detroit Lion fan base just absolutely hates him. And I wish I would have gone over there and traversed their message board maybe some Lions fans message board, because they know better than anyone. And I guess, who would know as well are our fellow Michigan buddies here. Maybe they have an idea, considering I would assume most of them are Lions fans. And yes, Michael, all of his success came under Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. So that, in my opinion, that's a red flag. Who's calling the defenses now? We know Belichick is a defensive guy. Because of that, it's like, I don't trust coaches who are hired from, staffs that were former defensive guys as well. Like, it's just like, if the head coach is a DC and you're hiring his DC, it's like, well, who was calling the defense? Who was, creating the schemes? I don't know. I can tell you this, man. Everyone's sucking off this interview he had with Julian Edelman. And I went back and listened to it today for the first time. Everyone's talking about how cerebral he is. Apparently he studied rocket science in college. He's very articulate and all of that stuff. And I'm listening to him and Julian Edelman talk, and I'm like, okay, he's talking like I would talk, not all that articulate. He's not breaking it down all that much. He's not telling me anything I already didn't know. And everyone's trying to say how much of a genius he is in this interview when he's talking about scheme. And all he's doing is talking about coverages and different formations and stuff. And he would try and match personnel. I'm like, that's fucking common sense. That's common sense. I mean, you should be doing that as a DC every game. If you're not doing that, then what the fuck are you doing? You should be basing what you do on defense on how the offense comes out and what personnel they're in. I'm like, what is this is what people are impressed about? I mean, I don't know, Michael, talk me off the ledge here, man. You seem more optimistic than me.
Well, the thing that I'm willing to be open about is that, he has clearly been around some high level schemes. He called defenses for years. He really called the Patriots defense from 2009 to 2017. He was really only credited as the DC from 2011 to 2017, but it has been confirmed that he was indeed calling the plays even in 2009, 2010. Belichick had a tendency to kind of shield his young coordinators from criticism, and they kind of called plays under the table before he really kind of came out and named them the OC or the DC. That's kind of, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So he does have a lot of years calling plays in the NFL under Bill Belichick. So he hasn't had success as a head coach, but I would have to think that his background, and he is supposed to be a genius, Jay. I mean, he is supposed to be an extremely high IQ guy. Between
rocket scientist.
Yeah. Between time with Bill Belichick, I have to think he can scheme up a good college defense and be an asset. I think he's somebody that certainly carries at least some gravitas, even if that gravitas is beginning to fade because it's been quite a while since he accomplished something. So he needs this. And so I feel like, hopefully he's going to give it his best, because I know he wants to probably get back into the NFL. If he had a couple 2 or 3 year run here and things went well, he very well could get back to the NFL. So I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic, but at the same time, I'm wondering, is this the best guy available that Ryan Day could have got? And it doesn't seem like that's the case. It seems like coming off of a national championship, having a very big, purse to be able to open up and spend top level money, it doesn't seem like this would be the number one target that you would go after. That doesn't mean it won't work really well. It's just a strange, I would love to know the circumstances as to, maybe how many people turned him down, and if they turned him down, why they turned him down. I know you mentioned to me, not on air here, but you mentioned, Durkin, and my understanding with Durkin, this is kind of just message boards through the grapevine stuff, but my understanding with Durkin is that Ohio State requested an interview with him, and the Auburn coach there, Hugh Freeze, immediately went to the athletic director and requested a major increase in pay, a 7-figure increase in pay. And he went to Durkin and he said, if you just stay put and don't take the interview, here's the contract, you can sign it and you stay. And, it seems that Durkin took the bird in the hand instead of the one in the bush. So I don't know if he would have been a better fit than Matt Patricia, but it certainly seems like there were some guys that there was interest in that for whatever reason, that interest did not get reciprocated. And at some point we got down to Patricia. Ryan Day felt like, he was the guy. It's going to be interesting to me, Jay. I'll let you weigh in here because I've been talking about it, but he's, the Belichick, there's a lot of odd fronts and things. That's not something that Ohio State's done. It's not really something they've recruited for. I'm wondering, is he going to do that? Is he going to scrap that? If he wants to do that, how does that work with Larry Johnson? We know that there seems to be resistance there with Larry Johnson. So there's a lot of questions certainly around this hire. But that being said, I still think he's a quality coach. I think he could kind of re-cement a name for himself and get his stock going back in the right direction. So he has a lot to gain. But Ohio State did not get a guy who'd had recent big-time success. And that's kind of what we were hoping for, I think. So that would be my only reservation with the hire.
Yeah, that's a lot to break down there, but continue on with what you're saying. My hunch is that Matt Patricia is what was left after others said no, or programs got wind of the interest and, preempted the poaching by offering a raise. Like you said, the A-list candidates he was seeking the past week probably either were not interested or programs got wind of the interest and, raised the money on or raised the salary of those coaches. I'm not going to say right now this is a bad hire, but it is highly, highly, highly questionable. And I have a problem with that. I have trouble concluding this was anyone's first dib pick at Ohio State. It was, just optics wise, it just wouldn't look good, man. It just wouldn't look good. You're right. DJ Durkin supposedly turned. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if Hugh Freeze offered him a better contract, and then and Durkin never spoke to Ryan Day, or Durkin supposedly turned us down. I will say this, man. And this is something that needs to be said. It is a major red flag there to choose Auburn over Ohio State. The SEC defensive coordinators just do not leave, even when the people are not Southerners, Michael. That would have been a grand slam hiring DJ Durkin. Jim Leonard could have been another really good hire, I think. Maybe not the grand slam that Durkin would have been. Hell, what about Phil fucking Parker from Iowa? I mean, we bitch about this defense being Iowa all the time. Why not just fucking bring in their DC for continuity purposes? Jesus Christ, man. I don't like to say Jesus Christ, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's an odd thing. What makes it so odd is you could look at Matt Patricia, you could look at DJ Durkin, you could say, wow, Patricia has accomplished far more on the defensive side of the ball than Durkin has. But again, there's these big asterisks there with we just don't quite know what Matt Patricia does on his own because he's never been away from Belichick in the sense of really just being a defensive coordinator. Now, he's widely experienced. He also, Jay, has been an offensive coordinator for Bill Belichick. So he's called plays on both sides of the ball in the NFL. That's certainly an interesting twist. But
I did not know that.
You didn't know that? Yeah. Yeah, he did now. And so some of the reports that he's difficult to get along with and that he's problematic as far as his temperament and things like that. I know Matt Jones said the exact opposite of that. Now, Matt Jones, when they brought Patricia back and had him start calling the plays, Matt Jones really credited Patricia with some kind of increased success, even though, Mac Jones' success was never great. But he did say that Patricia helped him in a way that the previous offensive coordinator had not, and that he really set up plays well for him, and that he was great to work with. So as far as Mac Jones is concerned, he did not express those kind of character or temperament issues that we have heard out of Detroit. So who knows? Obviously, Ryan Day felt he would be a fit on the staff, and, we're going to find out, Jay.
We have no choice but to find out, man. What choice do we have? I mean, I don't have a choice. This is why it drives me crazy, man. I'm like the inverse of most people. You know how people they always say, oh, don't worry about it. You can't control it. Or why worry about things that are out of your control and this, that, and the other. I'm the opposite. If something in my life is something that I can physically control, I don't fucking worry about it because usually it's something that I need to change or I need to do or, something like that. I have a grasp. It's palpable, literally. Mm-hmm. So, but things like this drive me fucking crazy. It just drives me fucking crazy because this is not something I personally would have done. Joe Cullen, I think that would have been a really good hire. Spagnuolo disciple could have been great. Here's the problem, Michael. And another problem. I mean, this is an assortment of problems. Matt Patricia is known for running, like you said, multiple hybrid defense rooted in a 3-4 base scheme. In practice, he blends the 3-4 alignment with elements from the 4-3 using versatile, linebacker roles and a variety of blitz packages, to confuse offenses. The problem is we do not have the personnel to run the 3-4. We don't have enough of those big black defensive tackles from the Southeast that are born down there and are not made in the Midwest. We just don't have them. We had 2 last season with Tyleik Williams and Caden McDonald. We are going into next season with just one. Ohio State has not recruited the line well enough to run this. Edric Houston is too small. You need the big nose tackles that are 330 plus pounds. It all starts there on the lines. If you don't have the nose tackle, you will not be able to effectively run a 3-4. And that is just my opinion. This isn't just my opinion. This is a former NFL player who I spoke vividly about this with. He does not like the 3-4 either because you need the perfect personnel to run it. It's just, it leaves, it's great if you have the personnel, but Ohio State does not have the personnel to run it. We do not. We haven't recruited well enough on the lines.
Yeah. They'd be very thin. You could put, I was talking to you today, you could put McDonald at the nose and, obviously.
Yes, you can, but here's the problem. He doesn't have anyone to back him up.
Yeah.
Where's the depth there?
That's what I was going to say is it's really thin. And then you've got Jackson at end and, the big kid from Georgia is really would be an ideal defensive end for a 3-4, even though he's kind of, maybe too big for a 4-3. But I still think that they're going to have to do a lot of 4-man fronts because, you've got McDonald, kid from Georgia, Jay. Why did I just forget his name? We were just talking about him.
Edric Houston.
Yeah, Houston.
My Buford brother. Yeah.
if he's going to be a big success, it's going to have to be based on his quickness and his power. He's going to have to be a Aaron Donald type of player, because I mean he's going to be hard pressed to be 275, 280 pounds in there. So you certainly can't run a 3-4 with him in the middle. So I think there's going to have to be a lot of 4-man fronts, and I would guess that Patricia is going to, I think he's smart enough to work with what they got. I think he will try some things that we probably haven't seen, because that's just kind of what they do. The Belichick system is very creative. There was even times that Belichick had 2 down linemen and 4, let's see, 2, 5, a 2-4-5. And he would send linebackers, different directions. He did that at times. So, they do a lot of creative stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how they employ that with what he's got to work with on that defensive line, which is by far going to be the biggest question mark and likely the biggest weak spot of this defense coming back.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. Hey, Michael, it appears that we did not fix our super chat, man. I know we discussed it and we were close to fixing it. We need to get on that. We need to fix that.
I see that, and I just went back in and checked, and it was asking for some more verification. So I guess I'll.
Man, dude, that's right. We were supposed to set up like a one-on-one and get that situated.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man. Let's do that. Like, I don't know, tomorrow or something. I don't know. Sometime really soon. We got to get that fucking done. Man, DEI rant. Well, there isn't much to rant about DEI right now because President Donald Trump's getting rid of it. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? It's being removed from a lot of companies. Elon Musk is going in there and tearing a new one to our unconstitutional government programs. I mean, this is great news, great times in the political world, Michael. I see that Google is removing I guess, I don't even know how to phrase it, but they removed like Black History Month and gay stuff like from their Google Calendar. Great fucking news, man. Great fucking news.
Mark Zuckerberg said Facebook is going to be more free speech friendly. He's taken away the censorship. Went on Joe Rogan and admitted that he got lured into censorship. He blamed it on the government basically, but he admitted that he got lured into censorship and no more. So a lot of good things happening for just if you like basic freedoms.
Did you see that Zuckerberg actually trains like martial arts now, MMA? You saw that?
I think he's a blue belt. Yeah.
Do you think you could take him?
Yeah.
I would smack the shit out of Mark Zuckerberg.
I saw him compete. He's not bad though. Like you couldn't underestimate him. I mean, when I saw him compete, he was like a very high level white belt. That was about a year ago. So he definitely put in the time and kind of knew what he was doing.
I do wonder, and I was talking with people at my gym about this, if Mark Zuckerberg kind of changed because he started getting acclimated to the MMA culture. And let's be real, the MMA culture bleeds red. Like hardcore.
Yeah, and even the ones that are blue aren't this woke, communist kind of
thing. No, they're not. Anywho, man, continuing on. I know, so here's the thing, Matt Patricia. Here's something I don't hold against him at all. Apparently, he had some sexual assault charge in 1996. Nothing ever came of it, and sounds like the woman completely made it up. This isn't Ben Roethlisberger, aka Ben Rapisberger, being formally accused two times, and he's probably some sort of sexual fucking molester. You can't be formally accused 2 times and nothing happened. Something happened there. Something happened with that Rapisberger.
Yeah, Roethlisberger was not a good guy from things I've heard.
No, I've heard that too, but apparently he's a molester of women, so he's just a piece of shit. One of my one of my most hated athletes of all time. So moving on.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to throw in that.
Go ahead.
You're pathetic if you're an athlete making millions of dollars and you choose to do that to women. That's
yeah, man. He could just pay for sex whenever he wanted.
Yeah.
From any woman, pretty much. Why are you having to molest women? You could just pay for it. Whatever. I hear the stories about that all the time. Offense. So here's the thing with offense, man. Brian Hartline. I actually don't mind Brian Hartline being promoted to the offensive coordinator if you landed a grand slam offensive line coach, but they didn't. Who in the fuck is Tyler Bowen? Offensive line coach from Virginia Tech? This is what we're doing? This is the best we can do? We just won a national championship, Michael, and we don't have our choice of line coaches. I can tell you this. The Virginia Tech coaches surely do not mind that he's leaving.
Well, I'll say this: the couple of years he was there at Penn State, he did recruit better than every Ohio State coach in the coaching recruiting composite, other than Brian Hartline. So he does seem to have some recruiting chops. So I see a upside to the recruiting from where Justin Fry had it, which was frankly bad. I also, Jay, see another selling point added with LaCharles Bentley being added to the staff in a assistant capacity.
That hasn't been confirmed.
It's all but confirmed.
I need to see more evidence than that before I start.
It's happening. I will say this. There's another Ohio State podcaster that I call BS on half the stuff he says, but on these coaching staff things, he has been dead on every single one. And so, he said Patricia, he said Hartline was going to be promoted. He called this guy from Virginia Tech. So he seems to actually have an inside source on this. He says that LaCharles Bentley thing is a done deal. It just has not been announced or finalized yet. So I know it's not totally official, but I am going to assume that is happening since he's been right on the other things. And that's a lot to sell. Is you've got the Ohio State, you've got NIL, you've got whatever this guy has to offer. Obviously, he's a good recruiter and good selling himself. And then you've got, hey, we also have this technician coach that the NFL guys go to tune up on their technique and their form. And he's right there to get you ready for the NFL. So it seems like they have a tremendous amount to be able to sell to young kids on the offensive line. So I am higher on, assuming Bentley comes, I'm higher on the offensive line potential than I am Brian Hartline at OC. That's really my sore spot with the coaching decisions thus far. I get it. I understand it. I know why we're doing it. I don't love it. We just did this. We just tried this. So hopefully Brian Day has actually seen something that makes him think it's going to be different this time. And this isn't just an attempt just to keep Brian Hartline on staff, because that's a very expensive way to keep Brian Hartline on staff if he's not really ready to call the plays again.
Yeah, a lot to digest there. And I know you just mentioned Tyler Bowen's supposed recruiting prowess. And here's my thing. What major accomplishments did Penn State even achieve while he was there? We know for a fact that they didn't beat Ohio State. What major bowl games did they win? What did they really do in the Big Ten? I mean, I don't know, man. It's just, that's just a very red flag.
They didn't. I'm just saying, if he recruited the same way he did at Penn State at Ohio State, it would be an upgrade. And Ohio State tends to have more talent overall outside of just the offensive line than Penn State. So plug in better offensive line recruiting into the program that we have now. And, it could be a substantial uplift from the dregs of recruiting that Justin Fry brought in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm all for having a better recruiter here. But the thing is, it's like, with Justin Fry leaving, I believe we needed a Grand Slam hire. So like, what about, Joe Rudolph or Kyle Flood? I mean, Joe Rudolph from Notre Dame, Kyle Flood is at Texas, former Rutgers head coach. Those are the types of names we should have gotten, in my opinion, and we didn't get them. And it's just, it's mind-boggling. It's annoying. It's depressing. It's discouraging. And, I thought that was my cat that I hear in the background, but
let me go get that cat out of the room.
I know. Like what happened, man? Like a cat attack in there.
I've got 2 cats now.
Are
I'm
there
in,
two?
yeah, I'm back in my house, everybody. I just got divorced. That's why
You
we've,
did.
yeah.
I thought we were going to save that
Well,
information for another show.
we will, but I'm finally back in my house and I've been left with 2 cats. That's what they were just left on me. So I've got these 2 cats. So let me get this one out of the room. I'll be right back.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. Everyone, look at the news that Michael just dropped on everybody getting divorced and all. But hey, the man is happy. He is separated. He's done. He's done with the great evil that was like weighing him down in his life. Yeah, just to continue on with all of that, man. Just everyone, Brian Hartline being the offensive coordinator without a Grand Slam offensive line coach. I worry. And Michael, I was, I didn't even finish what I was going to say, but here's my worry. Do we really trust that Ryan Day is going to hand over the play calling to Brian Hartline and trust in him to actually call and scheme the offense? Now, I understand that Ryan Day is still going to play a part in the scheme, but like on game day, on Saturdays, if the game is tight, do we trust Ryan Day to relinquish all play calling duties to Brian Hartline? I can't say that I do. I don't trust him to do that. And that's a problem. We saw that in 2023, as you said. That's where the problem comes in.
And do we want Brian Hartline having all the play calling duties? That's the other part of the equation,
Do we trust Brian Hartline to make the calls? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. But here's the thing. If, I'm going to get to this point later on, and this applies to all the coaches, so I'm not even going to say it now. But we saw the struggles of the offense in 2023. Obviously having Kyle McCord instead of CJ Stroud played a major part in that. But Ryan Day was also hyper conservative. Ryan Day, if we'll know in week 1 who's calling the plays, in my opinion, because I feel like if the team gets conservative against Texas, I'm going to believe it's Ryan Day. I have a hard time believing Brian Hartline's going to hold too close to the vest in a big game, which is, going to be that is the biggest non-conference game in the college football season in 2025, Ohio State, Texas, the rematch in Ohio Stadium. It will be the biggest non-conference game of the season. So it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know what other names he could have got for offensive coordinator out there. Maybe some former NFL guys or something. And I know I spoke with you about this earlier, about everyone being scared of losing the wide receiver room if you lose Hartline. But you know what? Fucking who the fuck cares? Like, I assume some of them would leave. But at the same time, those receivers know that it's Ryan Day's offense that they're playing in and having a lot of success. It's like Zach Smith was actually a damn good recruiter in a very conservative offense, and he did fine. So the recruits are going to see that Ryan Day likes to throw it more. And because of that, I think he could have held on to him. I mean, they've already been there for a few years. I don't think any one of them would have left, because think about this. Brian Hartline would have went to some smaller time program. They're not going there. Now, could they have gotten lured away by Miami or Oregon? Now that's a possibility, but I think Ohio State would have been able to keep them. I really do. So being scared of Brian Hartline leaving and losing the wide receiver room, I think that's just weak sauce.
Yeah. Well, that's what we went with. The one thing I'll say, going back to the Patricia hire, I will take this over Matt G. I'm glad that we didn't just go with the guy down the hall. I think it's rare that at a place like Ohio State, you can just go with the guy down the hall, and that's the best option. Like, the best option that you can possibly go get just happens to be a couple offices down. I don't think that's very common. So I'm glad we didn't do that with defense, but, we did do it with offense. And it's a youth movement on offense. Keenan Bailey has been promoted to co-OC. Quite the rise. Ryan Day is a terrific Keenan Bailey fan. He loves the guy. I don't know if it's merited or not. I think he's a pretty good recruiter.
Solid, but his recruiting, he got Jelani Thurman, one guy, not even a 5-star. And I love Jelani Thurman, but who has he really gotten there? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, man.
Well, Day loves him. And, this is a way for him to get a big pay raise and for him to bump a guy who has been loyal to him. And so, that's what he did. He brings certain elements.
What happened to your mic? What happened to your mic, Michael? He must not be able to hear me. I think we got the point with what Michael was saying. But I'm going to make a comment here. And my comment is, this leaves Larry Johnson. And how does Larry Johnson hit in a 3-4? How does he fit in a 3-4? Larry Johnson's getting... I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me, Jay?
We can hear you. We can all hear you. Can you hear us? Can you hear me? Not us. Me.
Testing 1, 2. Jay, can you guys hear me? I can't hear you.
That's odd. That's really odd.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I still can't hear you.
That's weird. That's really weird.
Well, looks like we better wrap this one up. I don't know if we can get connected back.
Hey, Michael, why don't leave and come back in? Anywho, sorry about the technical difficulties, everyone. Yeah, Michael needs a new microphone. Nothing else to be said there. I left off talking about Larry Johnson. How does he fit in a 3-4? He's getting old. He's no longer recruiting worth a shit anymore. Maybe it's time to bring in Randall Joyner from Ole Miss, because Ohio State is just, I don't know. I don't really like what they have on the lines for defense. And, we literally just lost our entire starting 4 on the defensive line. You lost Tuimoloau, you lost Sawyer, you lost Tyleek, and you lost Ty Hamilton. Now, do I think that we're going to miss Ty Hamilton? No, I really don't. But the other 3 we're going to miss very, very, very much. Michael, you're back. Is everything working? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. I was commenting. Let's just go right in. I was commenting about Larry Johnson, and I honestly think it's time for him to leave. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's past time for him to go. I really thought this would be it. I thought he'd ride off into the sunset with the national championship, and yet it seems he's coming back again.
Well, do we know he's coming back? Because some people are kind of throwing out thoughts and suspicions that with the hiring of Matt Patricia that he might not come back. And Matt Patricia, all 5-6 of him, is going to stand up to Larry Johnson and tell him what's up, which I don't know how you're a defensive coordinator supposedly under Jim Knowles and can't tell Larry what's going on or something. I don't know. I read something today that maybe Knowles was the problem and Larry Johnson saved the defense. I don't fucking know, man. I just do not fucking know. I do not fucking know. It's suspicious, though. The defense did start playing better at the end of the year. in 2024, but we still got lit up by Notre Dame. So it's not like I don't miss Knowles. I'm not going to miss Knowles at all. Good riddance. I mean, I didn't care that he left, but I just worry about the talent replacement.
Yeah, the saga surrounding Jim Knowles, we'll never know. But something definitely happened. Something distinctively happened after the Nebraska game. And who was behind that? How did it happen? We don't know, but it certainly happened. But yeah, I'm not torn up about Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles got a national championship here. Great. I think there was 10, 15 coordinators in college football that could have done something very similar to what Jim Knowles did with that defensive talent that he had.
Yeah. A couple comments in here, Michael. Hopefully your ex did not take the TV.
No, I've still got a TV, so I'm good there.
Man, it's I guess to wrap this. Question: higher upside, Sand or St. Clair? We haven't seen Tavian St. Clair play it like in college yet. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I have.
And really, Julian Sand for that matter. We haven't seen either one of them play. I can tell you that Julian Sand is going to be more ready to play because he played at a much, much, much better football and a high level of California football versus Tavian St. Clair and shitty Ohio football Division III at Bell Fountain. I can promise you that. But Michael, man, knowing that you got divorced and everything, and now that it's public, Valentine's Day is ironically tomorrow. Any plans, sir? Any special things going on, or what do you got going on, man?
No, I mean, no special things going on Valentine's Day. Just hanging out.
What the fuck is a Galentine's Day? And we're done talking about the Ohio State portion of the show. I recently, in the last couple of years, something has popped up as like Galentine's Day. I've seen it around social media. Is there like a male version of that? Or is that just like for all like single women who can't get a man? Or what the fuck is this? I feel like they should go on the Thursday hookup of Rover's Morning Glory back when the show was good, and now it sucks, which, was my favorite morning show, everyone, if you know what that is. It used to be. It's not anymore. Michael, do you know what the fuck that is?
No, I have no idea.
No, man. I don't know. But I can tell you this, everyone, for Valentine's Day, to all of the single men out there, I just want to let you know that I'm here for you. And I will give you the biggest bro hug a random person off the internet could ever give somebody. If you see me out in public, you say, Rage, give me a bro hug. I'll do it. Make you feel better about yourselves. I'm here for you. We're all going to make it, man. We're all going to make it. But Michael, I don't have anything else left to vent about with these coaching hires. The only thing I will say is, to quote my boss right now, if there is any doubt, there is no doubt. And what I'm referencing is there are doubts about each and every one of these coaching hires and promotions. And if you're Ohio State, a national championship winning program, the first 4-team playoff national championship winning program, the first 12-team playoff national championship winning program, why do I get the sense of settling? Why are you settling? Why are you not walking into a room, throwing your balls on the fucking table and being like, hey, get over to fucking Columbus, Ohio and help us win another damn title? Because I feel like, I don't know, man. You would think that Ohio State and Ryan Day would have the gravitas to do that, but they just haven't. They have not done it, at least in my opinion, with these coaching hires. And I just, at Ohio State, selfishly, I want a home run grand slam hire at every single position. I don't want to question it. Michael. That's my concluding thoughts on all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my concluding thoughts are I give it a B. I give it overall a B. I'm going to be pretty generous there. But yeah, I certainly I don't think that it was the slam dunks that we wanted.
And the other thing with Patricia is, and you kind of alluded to this earlier, he's only going to be here for 1 year. If he does well, he's gone back to the NFL. So it's like you lost like recruits again. Like I understand Jim Knowles was a terrible recruiter, but at least you had some continuity there and they knew what they were going to do. Now it's like you have Patricia for 1 year and you can't sell the recruits because, you know, they're not stupid. Their parents are playing a hand here. They're going to know that Matt Patricia is looking for a payday to go back to the NFL. And they're like, they don't know what defense they're going to be playing in the year after that. So I don't really know what Ryan Day is trying to accomplish with this. I disagree with it. Yeah, nothing else to be said, sir.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up then. Thank you guys for watching. We'll try and get those super chats fixed, and we will be back either Sunday or next week.
Yeah, we need to figure that out, man. Yeah, let's we'll come up with something good.
All right. See you guys.